I don't have enough money to take myself to a hospital. I'm not on medical aid. Or those stories of people living in that politics. How do we get those into the papers when every day it's factionalism has done this and that?
You see, Fungai, I'm really passionate about those issues. These are some of the issues that I really feel that we need to put to the forefront. But as you know, the media, newspapers, and even broadcasting, we're there to make money. So sometimes we sort of tend to play to whatever, we play to the tune of the readers. But I feel that journalism, where it's headed right now, is it's headed towards that direction where we begin to dissect politics, you know, and we bring it down to bread and butter issues. But I also think, and this is one other issue that I'm really passionate about, I think that this can only happen when we as journalists become empowered. For instance, I feel that when you're a political writer like myself, you know, you should go a step further than, you know, knowing how to go and get the story, but you should go a step further and be able to analyze the political issues. And in my belief, I honestly feel that you can only do this if you do get, you know, if you get educated, you know, in politics. You know, you go and study politics, and if you're a business writer, you go and study economics and so forth. And if you're interested in covering the gender bit, you go and study, you know, at the Women's University, they've got a Women in Gender and Development program there. So I think that is the only way we can really bridge that gap.
So do you see many women engaging currently in political discussions? And politics, by politics in this instance, I mean, you know, politics of state and, you know, government and that sort of politics. Are you seeing many women really putting their opinions forward and saying, this is what I think and I'm not afraid to say?
No, not many women, you know, talk about politics, but I also think that it is, you know, it is on us journalists. We need to go out there and find the women. We need to go out and source the voices of the women out there. You know, we need, because there are many women out there who are competent in issues of governance. Yes, but we need to give them a voice. You know, just like the way we quote, you know, all these other male analysts, if we go and source female analysts, I think this will bring the women's voice onto the fore.
You talked about mentoring and mentorship, and you are part of a program, the Women's Mentorship Program run by the embassy, the U.S. Embassy. How, from your experience, have you seen things changing? Is that mentorship process empowering young journalists, young female journalists? And what challenges have you seen from your experience, or what other areas still need to be ventured into in mentoring and grooming young female journalists?
I think that the mentoring program, no doubt, has yielded positive results. You know, it builds a lot of confidence. I think that when a journalist is mentored by somebody who's walked that path before, they become confident and they know that, okay, I'm facing difficulties today, but tomorrow is going to be better and I will eventually get there. I think it helps.
What
but, oh, okay, I answered the first part of the question. The second part of the question is you were saying that...
what are the other challenges that still need to be addressed?
Oh, the other challenges that still need to be addressed, in my opinion, is the challenge of the mindset. In my dealings with young female journalists, I've realized that a lot of people do not think they can do it. They don't think they have it within themselves. They're not very sure of themselves. And this is owing to a number of factors. You know, it's a male-dominated industry, and I do believe the glass ceilings are the artificial ones, at least.
Okay, so that's a different perspective. Could you expand a little bit on that?
Okay, when I'm saying the artificial glass ceilings are there, I'm talking about the issues mainly to do with the attitude, and I mean the attitude of both the female reporter and whoever the editor will be, the male editor, because like you said, you know, some male editors would find it difficult to send a female reporter to a rally because, you know, they know that it could be volatile. Yeah, so it's just about, you know, it's just about attitudes, you know, it's about patriarchy, you know, people take their, you know, their gender roles to work with them, you know. So I think that's what it's about.
And expanding on that, because you've spoken as well publicly about sexual harassment and harassment in newsrooms, would you like to just share a little bit more about that and just give us that context, because I think you've been very vocal about your own experiences.
Okay, harassment is harassment. Do you want me to speak about my personal experiences? Okay, harassment, yes, it's there, and I won't deny it because I have young female journalists from across the media spectrum coming to me for advice, telling me this has happened. And during my time at the Zimbabwe Union of Journalists, we had a lot of female journalists coming to report the issues of sexual harassment. It is still there, but in my opinion, it has gotten a little bit subtle because of the awareness that is around the issues of harassment. And now the men know what harassment is, because before now, people were not really, you know, aware that they were engaging in sexual harassment. And I think I should also mention this. Harassment is also happening the other way. Some female journalists harass the senior male journalists. It is happening, it is a fact, and we cannot run away from it.
Harassing in what terms?
They literally sexually harass them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for those perspectives. I'll move on now to Cynthia. And please note, yes, you can, if there's anything that's coming up that's striking you, note it down. We're going to take questions from the floor. But Cynthia, I'm just going to throw you into the fire now.
Okay.
We've started with this conversation about the glass ceiling. We have for and against. The glass ceiling exists. There are structures like patriarchy that are propping it up. Then against, or more or less, not so focused on that, the sky is the limit. You know, grab your opportunities and go. Where do you situate yourself?
I situate myself with Susan and Tendai. I have been, Newsday is my first job. I've been working there for 5 years now. And the first year that I worked there, I was a proofreader. The next year that I worked there, I was a sub-editor. The next year that I worked there, I enrolled myself into school. The fourth year and the fifth, I'm a multimedia producer. So I think it depends on the way you think, the way you see yourself, and the way you imagine your career to be. It's very easy for you to have imaginary boundaries about the things you can do or can't do. Like after I left school, doing documentary photography, I decided that when I went back to work, I didn't want to be a photojournalist. I wanted to introduce multimedia into the newsroom, because in South Africa it was something big then, but in Zimbabwe it was non-existent. And all I had to do was send an email to my editor-in-chief and explain to him what I wanted, and he gave me space for that. So it depends on the kind of person you are, the way you think, or the way you imagine your career to be.
And how would you say photojournalism is perceived or viewed in Zimbabwe? I mean, it's, I would think, still a growing tradition. It's not as, you know, set in people's minds as broadcast and newspapers and that sort of thing. How do people perceive, you know, when you say, hey, I want to be a photojournalist, or I am a photojournalist?
Different people have different. In the newsroom, you are kind of relegated to the person that is of inferior intellect. You're the person that's just going to go and take a picture and then it's going to be in the paper. There's no real thinking that's going on. And with people that you approach, the minute they know that you're a photographer, well, they will know because you have a camera strapped around your neck. It's H Metro Yawia or